All right, I'm here with Colt Freeman from 45 Scales.
How's it going?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me, Colt. So who do you got here?
We got Joy here. She is a Call Albino Snow, and believe it or not, she is 6 years old, and she just gave me 10 babies back on March 17th. She's a little skinny right now, but believe it or not, she had 10 babies in there. I can show you some of those babies here in a little bit.
That's super cool.
She is a sweetheart. Most snows don't stay this white, but she is definitely one of the whiter snows out there. Yeah, I've had her for a few years, and thought she was going to put on a lot more size before I tried breeding her, but she just is not getting any bigger.
Yeah,
so
that goes to show you. Yeah.
So I was like, I put her with a small male and said, let's see what you do. And she gave me 10 beautiful, healthy babies, no slugs, and no kinks, no deformities. It shows you that not all boas have to be huge.
Yeah, a lot of people are, trying to pump their breeders up and get them as big as possible. And the fact that she had 10 healthy babies is really cool. Because they're not breeding all crazy big in the wild either, right?
No. And you don't want to sit there and take a 2-year-old boa that's this big or 3-year-old boa is this big and force them to breed. You want them to be an adult, so you want them to be at least 4. I usually say 5. 6 is even better. But once they have that age, their body can do it. It's not gonna. A snake like this isn't gonna produce 30 babies. It's just gonna produce the right amount for its size.
Absolutely. Yeah, just like there's big people and small people, right? And they once they're adults, they can have kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Big ones might have big babies, and little ones might have little babies.
Yeah, for sure. And just like in people, a lot of the bigger people, the babies, there's more difficulties with birth and stuff like that. Do you find that to be true with boas, or?
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, for males, the larger the male, the less inclined they might be to breed. They might still do it. Everyone's a little different. Everyone's drive can be different. But my most productive males are on the smaller side. They're not miniature, but they're not big 6, 7 foot snakes. Most of my breeding males are 4 to 5 feet. I have a big 8-foot male that I rescued last year.
He is a big male.
I doubt he will breed.
Yeah.
He wants to go just sit on a couch and watch TV.
Bit of a couch potato.
That's why his name is fittingly Homer.
That's a good name. You have great names for a lot of your stuff.
My wife and kids are heavy Disneyers, so a lot of our stuff is Disney based. Occasionally we got a little oddball in there, but most are Disney based.
Very cool. Yeah, I was telling you off camera too. My wife loves Disney stuff. She'll definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, my wife won't hold any of the snakes. She has touched a couple, but she won't admit to it on camera. But she has. But I find that letting her be a part of the naming process allows me to end up with more without a headache.
There you go. Smart plan. Smart man.
Let's grab this guy. He's the father to some babies that I had recently. This is Triton, or King Triton. Little Mermaid.
Gotcha. I was going to ask.
No.
You're going to brush me up on all my Disney stuff.
Yeah. Even though I've only had 2 snakes bite me, I always use my hook to let them know I'm here. They're not being fed. Please don't bite me.
That's cool that you have your boas tap trained like that. That's a good idea, really, with any snake with a heavy food response.
So this is King Triton. He is a ghost IMG.
He is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. The head on him is super cool.
Yeah, so with Ghost, he's got hypo, anathoristic, and IMG. So he doesn't get as dark as some of the other IMGs out there because he has that hypo fighting the IMG. But he is a puppy dog. As you see, he just goes towards the camera. He is not shy.
What do hypo IMGs typically look like as, full-grown adults as far as the darkness level?
This is on the lighter side compared to, let's say, Dante that I can pull out in a minute that has fathered 2 litters for me now, or actually 3 litters now.
And this guy is an adult?
Yes.
Okay.
He is 4 years old.
Okay, for sure.
So he's a 2021. And yeah, this is kind of common size. I have a couple breeders that are a little bit smaller than this, but this is what I like to see. He's strong, but lean. And as soon as I put him with the female, he goes right to it.
That's awesome.
He goes to say hi. He doesn't hide in the corner like I did at the dance clubs back in the day.
There you go. Antisocial.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is awesome.
Yeah, so I'll show you Dante, which is a hypo IMG that is the father of a couple others. He's a little bit darker than this one, which with the hypo, there's no guarantee how dark they're gonna be. It can vary quite a bit. This guy is also a very sweet boy.
So this guy's literally the same morph, hypo IMG.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have the anathoristic, so he still has that red and stuff and brown. But he is hypo IMG, and he is also proven to be het call albino and het anathoristic this season.
This guy's a powerhouse.
Yeah, he's a stud. He gets right to work. He does not waste any time, and he is also a sweetheart. And I frequently will have neighborhood kids over, Cub Scouts, all sorts of people, family. And he is one of the ones that I have no problem handing to a kid.
Yeah, he's awesome.
No, he needs to put on a little bit more weight. He's a little skinny from this breeding season, but he's back eating fine. And
so the males go off food during the breeding season, kind of like ball pythons.
They can, not always. He did a little bit, but as soon as I separated, he was right back to it. It's generally you pair them up for about 3 weeks, separate them, feed them, give them a couple days, and then put them back together. He ran. I paired him twice this season. And so he's due for a nice long break, and hopefully even this next season I might give him the season off because some of his offspring will be ready this coming year, and I can give him some time off.
Nice.
We're talking about Homer. Let's bring him out real quick. Now, male boas, in my opinion, should never be this big. Never. But this guy was a rescue, and he is on a diet, and I've had him for probably 7 or 8 months now, and he hasn't lost much weight yet, but
he looks like a Burmese python sitting in there.
I've had several people think that I have a Burmese python because of that. He is call albino, and I believe from his patterning he does look motley. I haven't bred him to try and prove any of that. He is, with his size, I don't know if I will ever try to breed him. He might just be a nice friendly, big snake.
Very cool.
So, hey Homer, you can come out.
How long ago did you rescue this guy?
The time is slipping from my brain, but probably close to a year now. I think it was last spring. But so this is Homer.
Yeah, he's a big boy. That's crazy.
And you can see if you see some of the other snakes I have in a little bit, he's got a little pencil head.
Oh, sorry, Homer.
his head does not fit the size of his body.
Right.
And that's just proof that he was way power fed.
That shows you a snake is overweight when their head is a lot smaller than it should be for their body weight.
And a male albino really should not be this big.
Wow.
He should be in that 5, even 6 foot range. This guy, I believe he's about 8 foot stretched out. Because this cage he's in right now is a 6 foot, and if he goes edge to edge, he's still got 2 feet to spare.
Do your females typically get this size?
No, he is bigger than anything I have here.
That's crazy.
My biggest other female is probably about 6.5, 7 foot.
Right.
But her head is twice the size of his.
Right, it's appropriate.
And she's not nearly this big. I mean, this guy, you could see some of the lumps in the fat
I see
rolls.
it by his tail.
He's lost a couple pounds since I've had him. I'm not trying to starve him. He still gets fed.
You can
very
see it
small
in the
meals.
tail.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that he definitely needs a bit of a diet.
So I try. It's a hard balance of trying to get him to lose weight, but do it in a healthy manner, not starving him.
Yeah, people don't understand with snakes, like humans have our skeleton, and then on top of the skeleton we have the fat. But the snakes have the fat inside of the skeleton. So it's like right up on their organs. So getting them super fat is really unhealthy for snakes.
But he is a sweetheart. He has never hissed, never tried to bite. And literally when I went to pick him up, he was at a cat and dog rescue in a 75-gallon fish tank.
Wow.
With 2 bags of dog food sitting on top trying to keep it closed.
That's crazy. That's like a 1980s type setup there.
I was very surprised that he was still in there.
That's crazy.
Because he definitely has the strength. But
probably could have pushed that dog food out of the way,
yes.
Right?
They opened the door. I was like, ooh, how is he still in there?
He would make a great ambassador animal, though. He has a nice color, and he's very big and captivating.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, they had 3 there. They would only let me take 2. I offered to take all 3. They would only let me take 2. There was a much smaller albino male, but I knew this guy needed a place where somebody knew what they were doing.
He's lucky to have found you, yeah.
And I figured that the smaller guy had a better chance doing okay somewhere else other than somebody just wanting a giant snake and getting this guy and trying to feed him rabbits. He does not need to be eating rabbits. You look at that head.
Yeah, absolutely.
He needs rats.
What's the biggest size meal that you feed your adult females?
Jumbo rats.
Jumbo rats.
And I usually try to go to larges or extra large. The big meals I don't think they're needed.
Yeah.
It's some of those bigger items are they can get too fatty. Rabbits tend not to be, but but
rabbits can get pretty big in size pretty quick.
Yeah.
And especially if someone's trying to pump a snake up, they're probably not giving it small rabbits.
No.
They might not be giving it long enough in between as well.
No. It's clearly whoever had him first was not worried about size of meal or time in between.
Yeah, absolutely. Or the enclosure type. It sounds like either. Yeah. A lot of things.
Yeah,
keeping it in general.
Yeah, I don't know if he was kept in a fish tank, but when he was there.
What size is this cage?
These are 6x2.
Yeah, I mean he's definitely longer than the cage.
Yeah, I need to up a few of these enclosures. It's just trying to.
No, I mean he's just a big guy. These are pretty good cages.
Yeah.
You know, you actually have a pretty good sized cages for all your stuff.
Yeah, I try to. I don't try to do it small. There's a lot of stuff here that I want to make them bigger, but it all takes time and money because a lot of these cages I've built.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's
so
cool.
All these black cages I built.
Really?
These white cages I built. These white cages I built.
So you built them out of PVC, or the white ones melamine?
So a mixture. So these ones here are just plywood, heavily waterproofed.
Okay.
Plywood. I built those when the price of materials was skyrocketing.
Okay.
So PVC was really expensive. So I tried some plywood, which I like how it turned out. Plywood's a little bit more rigid, which is nice for stacking. The PVC tends to bow a little bit when you're getting a 6-foot cage and stacking them up high.
Okay.
But yeah, these ones are PVC. These ones are PVC. And this one I also built And then this whole stack, those are all 1/2-inch PVC.
Might need to talk to you about building me some cages.
Of course.
There we go.
But some of the other ones I bought from a local cage builder. Well, let's see. This one's one of my favorites here. I'll see if she wants to come out. Hopefully she's going to breed for me next year. This is a VPI Aztec. And this is one of the examples of, she is only actually 3 years old this year. So hopefully she'll go next year. But she, the breeder I got her from had siblings, and she just blew her brother away in size. But identical eating, she just exploded. This is Louisa. A lot of people ask me when they see her, they're like, how mean is she? Because apparently Aztecs tend to have a reputation of being kind of mean.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't really either. And she definitely doesn't fit that bill. I love her. She's got these little smiley faces on her back.
Yes, she does. A bunch of them. That's super cool.
But she is a sweetheart. I hope to make some VPI IMG Aztecs next season.
Now, Aztecs have a distinct tail, right?
Yes. So she is a lot more colorful than a lot of them. But yeah, she's got a lot of pink to her. I think she feels like she's getting ready to go into shed. But she is also a strong one, as my hand will start turning purple here.
Make good handcuffs.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So hopefully she gives me some babies next year.
She's beautiful. So this would be like normal size for an adult female for you?
She's still, I think she'll get a little bit bigger before this next season.
Okay.
But yeah, this is not a size that I would shy away from. She's probably about 5.5, almost 6 feet.
Okay.
But she clearly has the muscular ability and structure to breed now. She will probably be the youngest that I've tried to breed. But like I said, I think she's been this big for a while, so it's not like she jumped up to this just for breeding. I'm going to pull out this girl real quick. I haven't produced any of these yet, but I'm hoping to, not this next season, but the following season, make some good old classic Argentines. And this is the female that will hopefully do it for me. We had you out a few minutes ago, but see if you'll come back out again. So this is Franny. And she's 2022, I believe. Yeah, 2022, Argentine. And she is a very dark one.
She's gorgeous. And we did have some cool social media shots of her. What an awesome snake.
But as much as I love all the morphs and stuff in different colors, there's some of these boas, like Argentines and Surinames, what nature produced is good enough. We brought out Ursula for those social media stuff earlier. Let's see if Chewy wants to come out.
Sounds good.
He's about a 6.5 foot male. He looks a lot like her. He is also a very cool boy.
Oh yeah, he's a beautiful snake too.
This is Chewy. We're hoping him and Ursula get a chance to make some babies next season.
They would make some beautiful babies.
Yeah. But he is a male. He is captive bred. I think he was probably a little heavy fed in his early days, but he's at a good weight now. I wouldn't expect males to really be much bigger than this, but sometimes the BCCs will exceed what you think.
Yeah.
But they do it slowly. They don't grow as fast as the BCIs do.
I have heard that.
They're much slower growers, but it's worth the wait. Another boy that I like to bring out when we have kids and family and everything out here, because he has never tried to hurt anybody. He just likes to climb around.
I find a lot of people are comfortable with boas too because they're kind of slow-moving snakes.
Yeah, they're not too slow. Some will be quite movers. I have a few that won't sit still, but I have some that will sit up and just sit on my neck and stay there.
Well, right on time.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. They're not, crazy quick like a colubrid or something like that. They could freak people out. You know what I mean?
No, and they're
like a milk snake or something.
Yeah,
that's just...
and they tell you if they're upset or if they don't want to be out. They're not going to all of a sudden bite you for no reason.
Yeah,
that's one thing I love about boas. If they don't want to be held, they'll tell you right up front. And if you make the choice to try and hold them, and they don't want to, that's on you.
Yeah.
But usually, at least with the ones I have here, once I let them know I want to hold them, they're happy to come out.
Absolutely.
There's pretty much not a day that I don't pull at least 2 or 3 out for a few minutes. And you get a lot of them. You don't get as much, not necessarily as much time as you want, but.
I really like those shirts.
No, thank you.
Yeah, they're cool.
My wife makes them for me when I ask.
That's awesome. You guys are handy, man, making shirts, making cages.
Yeah. But I found because anybody that gets any type of snakes, whether it's boas, pythons, anything, it's very rare to just have one.
Yeah.
It is very addicting very quickly. And I found that, and I love working on building things, making things, but I found out that I could get a lot more snakes if I built my own enclosures.
Yeah, absolutely.
Than if I was buying enclosures.
Yeah.
So that's what I've done.
Save the money on enclosures, put on the snakes.
Yep.
There you go.
So this was one of my favorites too. She's a hypo het call albino. She produced a couple or 3 siblings that I have in the other room that we'll go see in a few minutes. But she produced Groot, Mr. Moon, and Princess Peach.
Groot is amazing.
Yeah, and then she's hypo het call albino, and she is just a puppy dog.
That's cool.
And she has got such pinks to her. Her cage lighting is horrible, but you get her outside of the cage, and she is just saturated.
It's hard for cameras to pick up pinks.
I hate cameras.
But this girl really is. This girl really is super pink in person. And you paired her with an IMG, right?
Yes. I paired her with a hypo IMG het call albino. He wasn't proven albino yet, but he proved with her.
I mean, the pink on her face is
crazy.
It was
Dante, who we had out a few minutes ago.
Gotcha.
That's who the male that was with her back in 2023.
Absolute stunner of an IMG.
She had this year off. I'm tempted to replicate that pairing because the babies were just amazing. But I also have another male that I really want to give a shot to that's got labyrinth and some other things. But we'll see what happens.
It actually is picking up some of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, the amount of pink on this animal is actually insane.
Yeah, I other than her, I have not seen a hypo as clean as she is. With the saddles, she's just clean.
She is super clean.
So colorful and such a good snake. I had her out a couple years ago, and my neighbor's daughter, who is 2 years old, not even 2 years old, I think she was like just under 2, comes over and she just comes up, and I've got pictures, and she's just petting her, saying "Snaky, snaky." But she's she's another one that is a fan favorite. Comes out anytime we have family friends, and that's one thing that is the hardest part. One of the hardest parts about breeding is when you have a favorite snake like this or any of them. When they're breeding, you can't hold them.
Yeah.
And that hurts.
Yeah, it does hurt. Absolutely.
Not being able to hold them is hard.
I agree with that.
So
I wholeheartedly approve.
That's why I was happy that she had this year off, so I could have some more time with her.
Very cool.
Over here that we won't be able to bring out because of what I was just talking about. These two here are gravid. We got Clarabelle down here, who's looking nice and plump and happy. She just gave me her post-ovulation shed a few weeks ago.
Nice.
So she is due August 12th, and she is a Pink Panther Het VPI Snow. And I paired her with a Ghost Het VPI. So we're fingers crossed we'll get a bunch of little VPI Snows coming this August.
Let's see how thick she's getting.
Mm-hmm. She is also a sweetheart. She looks like a normal boa on the outside, but she carries some pretty powerful genes in her. And she actually gave us, it was about a year and a half ago, a litter of Parthenogenesis babies. We can show you the two of the babies that I kept here in a few minutes. But so she's a miracle mama too.
Explain for people that don't know what Parthenogenesis is.
Parthenogenesis is something that's people think is super rare in reptiles, but it's actually becoming to be more known as not as rare. And it's reptile snakes. Some lizards can do it, but the mom is able to essentially clone herself because out in the wild, they might not have a male around them. And how do you survive? How do you move on? You got to make babies. So some snakes, lizards, and other things have that ability to clone themselves. When you have a Partho litter, all the babies are going to be female because there is no male contributing DNA to it.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. They're exact copies of the mother.
So
they're one half, right?
Yep. So yeah, well, it's essentially they're duplicating mom's DNA. So
okay.
Both
they have one copy, but it's all the mother's copy.
Yes,
I got you.
Exactly. So they all those babies were and I knew that it was Partho because the male didn't have one of the genes that was showing because the babies ended up being VPI Snow and Anery and normals, which are all the genes that she carries. And she had a total of, I think, about 15 babies. Most of them were heavily deformed and died within 24 hours, which is very common with parthenogenesis. It's very rare it's more rare to have survivors of parthenogenesis. Yeah, they were all female, and the father, the male, I did have a male with her, but he was motley. Not one of those 15 babies showed motley, and he definitely did not have the Anery gene in him. So the fact that she showed all of that without the motley lead me to kind of believe and prove that they had parthenogenesis babies.
Is Anery recessive?
Yes.
So basically, they showed a recessive trait.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So all the babies, when it was quite amazing when I saw that when she started giving birth. I was luckily home, and as I was watching them come out, I was shocked, amazed, but then also heartbroken as I noticed that most of the babies that came out were heavily deformed and or not moving. But I ended up having 5 that survived. I've got two here with me today, and they're thriving. One has a little bit of a shark jaw, but actually seems to be improving as she gets older. The other one seems perfectly normal. But only time will tell. We have no guarantees on Parthenogenesis babies. We don't know if they'll live to adulthood. We don't know if they'll be able to reproduce in the future. I know there was a guy that was studying that, but I never saw the follow-up study to see if he proved that a Partho baby could reproduce. So I hope to prove that one day, but that's only if they make it.
That'd be very cool. Yeah,
So,
we'll have to keep an eye on what you're doing.
Oh yeah, and the other one here we got here is Sisu, one of my Dumeril's boas, and she's gravid. Dumerils are probably, although all the colors of everything I have is fun and amazing, Dumerils I think is one of the best snakes out there. One of the best pet snakes, one of the coolest looking, best personality in my opinion. One thing with Dumerils is they have a much longer gestation period than your typical boas. They will go, it's about 160 plus days past post-ovulation shed.
Wow. How long does a boa imperator or something like that do?
On average, 105.
Wow.
So it's about 2 months longer.
Wow.
So it is a long wait. They generally don't get as big and looking as chunky. She's definitely chunky compared to pre-breeding. And she's showing all the signs. She's doing exactly what she did a couple years ago for me, and gave me 12 perfect babies a couple years ago. So looking forward to, she should be due in August as well. But yeah, the weight is killer on these guys. And it's also, it's not 160, 165 guaranteed. I talked to many other Dumeril's breeders, and some will go a little shorter, some will go longer. But it's worth the wait because they are some awesome babies. And another cool thing about the Dumerils is anybody that's used to regular BCI boas, BCC boas, they're born and they shed 10, 14 days after they're born. Dumerils shed within usually about 30 seconds to a minute of being born.
That's crazy.
They come out and they take off and they're immediately rubbing to get that skin off.
Wow.
It is. I had the pleasure of being able to watch her give birth the first time, and it was hilarious to watch them come out and just go. Where with your BCIs, they come out and they just sit in the goo for a while. Where these guys were all over the cage within minutes. It was quite fun to watch.
That is cool.
This is another one of my IMGs. And she is a pink panther, which sounds ridiculous looking at her, because pink panthers tend to have a pink color to them. But she did when she was a baby. She is just coming up on 3 years old, but she is a pink panther IMG Het VPI.
Wow.
So she's got that IMG gene, which, like I said, if you could see a picture of her as a baby, which I'll send you one, and maybe you can overlay it or something.
Okay.
But she looked nothing like this. She had a red tail. She was mostly gray. And now, 3 years later, she is getting pretty darn close to just black.
Absolutely beautiful.
And one thing about IMG that everyone that knows IMG, the iridescence that these guys carry is just awesome. Probably can't see it well in here.
I'll overlay a video we took outside. I got some
Mhm.
good ones of the iridescence.
Yeah, but she is also a sweetheart. I really don't have any snakes that are mean here. Some babies will be a little feisty, a little hissy, but that's kind of one of the qualifications for a snake in my collection is it has to be able to be handled.
It's because you're such a nice guy.
But not everyone has to be able to be handled by a 2 or 3 year old, but one thing I love to do is have people come over here that are scared of snakes, terrified of snakes, phobias, and then teach them it's unnecessary. And they were taught incorrectly.
Absolutely.
These things are nothing to be feared of. Yes, they don't love you like a dog does or a cat does, but they're a spectacular creature themselves.
We sure love them. And I would argue we can bond with them in a way too.
Oh, yeah.
Especially one that we have to tame out.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh, I have some that will I'll pass off to somebody, and they know my smell, they know that stuff, and they will just come right back to me no matter what. I'll pass them back, and they'll just come back.
Yeah, loving may be a different thing, but I
Yeah.
feel like we definitely can bond with
Oh
these
yeah.
guys.
Yeah, most of mine, because I pester them all the time, taking a million pictures.
Mm.
I have more pictures on my phone of snakes than I have my kids.
Me too,
I do
probably.
love my kids more than I love my snakes,
I also do.
but I have more pictures of
Yeah,
snakes
for
on my
sure.
phone. So these guys generally are not shy, camera shy. A lot of times they just go towards the camera,
Yeah, for sure.
which makes it hard to get a good picture.
Beautiful.
But yeah, she's one of my favorites.
I love the IMG stuff.
Yeah. So she will likely get pretty darn close to completely black. I suspect her head will stay somewhat gray, dark tan, but um, most of this in her back here is going to disappear in the coming years. And hopefully in a couple of years she can give me some pretty little babies.
My gosh, I'll be waiting on those.
Mm-hmm. And she's one that I would love to breed sooner than later, but I am not rushing her because I want her to have nice, healthy ones.
I like your mentality about that type of stuff.
The one non-boa I have wants to come say hi. Probably doesn't, but we'll give it a try. This is Grogu. You can come out. Oh, you're playing nicely today. Oh, yeah.
Good. Oh, giving us a bit of that hood, too.
Yeah. He rarely hoods once you get him out. He loves to hood when I walk by in the cage. Well, this is our false water cobra, Grogu. As much as I love boas, there's something about these guys that I just really thought looked cool. Obviously, who doesn't think a cobra looks cool when they hood? But these guys have a different type of intelligence compared to a boa. They think a little bit more. At least it appears that they do. And a little bit more active, so he's fun to hold. And it's always fun to bring him out when people are around and be like, hey, here's a venomous snake.
Yeah, because they are rear-fanged venomous.
They are rear-fang venomous, but he has never tried to bite. He has only tried to tail whip me a couple times, trying to get him out of his cage. He almost never hoods up once he's being held. And their venom is most commonly described as similar to that of a bee sting.
Gotcha. So not super like medically significant.
No, not really medically significant to your average person. They say that if you're allergic to bees, you should probably not play with one of these. You just never know. It's not identical to a bee sting, but they tend to say that the people that have been bit by these that are allergic to bees tend to have allergic reaction.
Gotcha.
So it's one of those things that, yeah, you may not want to risk it.
And anything rear-fanged, it has to chew on you to administer the venom, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if he just bit me because he wanted to say get away from me, it's not going to envenomate me. He has to grab me and chew on me to inject that venom. And they're not constrictors. They just overpower their food. So he's on frozen thawed. He's never had live with me. He eats quail, rats. I've tried feeding failure to thrive baby boas, that stillborns. He doesn't really seem interested in it. But they are known to eat stuff like that and fish. But he seems to stick to the quail and rats. But he is just such a cool snake to handle, and just kind of has that a little bit of wow factor without putting your life life at risk.
And these guys get decent size too, right?
Yeah, I think this is my first one, probably my only one. I don't think I'll try and breed these guys. I think it's what, like males can be like 5-6 feet, females can get 7 to 8, I believe. I could be wrong. I just really, really enjoy how he acts, how he looks. Just a fun snake.
That's super cool.
And whenever you tell somebody you have a cobra, you leave off the false part at first. And they're all, what? But, yeah, he's a fun guy. And see, he's also not camera shy.
Super cool. What a cool snake. All right, so we're here in your raise up and baby room, right?
Yep, this is where all my babies are and the few racks I have. I do have plans to make more cages for a lot of these. But yeah, like you said, these are a lot of the grow ups, holdbacks, stuff that I can't bring myself to sell. But one that we talked about earlier, we got some other videos of, and my favorite, especially of things I produce, is this guy Groot. And he's a hypo IMG, 66% het call albino, and the color this guy has and the reds this guy has since the day he was born just rivaled, in my opinion, some might argue with me, but rivaled that of a lot of blood boas out there.
Yeah, I definitely can see the similarity.
But he's got that IMG that's obviously blacking out a lot of stuff on the sides, but he is also possible super hypo, because both his parents were hypo. So he will not get black like Vanellope a few minutes ago, the other IMG. He will still carry a lot of his color. He will get a little bit darker than this, but he will never completely black out, even like his dad. His dad was much darker than this at this age.
It's crazy how the sides are really black, though.
Yeah. It's the hypo and IMG. It's like some people are like, well, hypo, it's reduction of black pigment, and then you're adding IMG. Why would you do that? If you want to reduce it, why add it? But the battle that IMG and hypo have, and every snake can be different, it's fun to watch, especially when you're raising them up.
This guy is awesome. I mean, he's awesome.
And he is just a sweetheart. He is, because I mean, in all honesty, I've handled him so much since he was born, because he's just he was my favorite. And I have another one from his litter that has more genetic traits to it, but he was my favorite. The second he was born, there was no way he was leaving this house.
He might be my favorite animal you showed me.
Yeah.
He is really awesome.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to have all the genetic traits. You can add all the genetic traits together you want, and you can have a nice looking boa, but sometimes a little bit more simple can do a lot. And he's not simple, but compared to some of the stuff I have, he is a favorite in the household.
His color is definitely not simple with that battle that you were talking about going on. It's super cool. Super chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
Groot is a perfect name for him as well.
Yeah. Let's show you one of his brother that I kept, which is a Sunglow IMG. So albino, hypo, and IMG, which you see this and you'll be like, that's not IMG. Well, it is. It's just what IMG looks like in an albino. And this guy is going into shed, so he is not quite as colorful today as he was a few days ago. But this is Mr. Moon. He is a Sunglow IMG. And a lot of the IMG you can see in the tail with these white rings around his tail saddles.
So the difference in these two snakes is that this one has albino.
Yes.
And the last one did not have albino.
Groot is 60. There's a 66% chance he has albino underneath, recessive. But this guy is visual for albino and hypo and IMG.
Wow, that one gene makes so much difference.
Mm-hmm. And I kept one other from this litter to grow up and be a future breeder, but she is just Sunglow. She doesn't have the IMG. She looks a little bit like him, but not quite the contrast, not quite the depth. Like I said, he is unfortunately going to shed, and that's how it always works. When you're showing people your favorite stuff, they like to go and shed. Anybody who has snakes knows how that works.
Absolutely, I agree. My stuff does that
see the color in this one?
Right, exactly.
Trust me, it looks better than this.
And then you pull out the pictures.
Yeah.
The snake's right in front of them, then you got to pull out pictures.
Mm-hmm. This is what they normally look like. Believe me. But so that's a Sunglow IMG. That was Dante and Danny, the big hypo we had out earlier. These were the offspring of that. And I have another Sunglow IMG that was also, dad was Dante, but mom was another hypo. I have Daisy, a much darker hypo. But this is Knuckles. And the color on him is so different that he is like pink. I think he's getting ready to go and shed too because he's soaking. But we had him out earlier. But you can just see his color is just so much more red and pink than Mr. Moon. Even when Mr. Moon's not in shed, he's not as bright as this guy.
For sure.
But this guy also has jungle, which plays with the color a little bit. But when you have boas, you can have a litter of 15 hypo babies, and the color of every single one will be slightly different. And with this one, this baby was just, this was only 2 babies born in this litter. But he got all the color.
Do you find that the nicer colored ones produce nicer colored ones?
I think so. I've only been breeding for so long at this point, but I feel like it is, and I feel like a lot of other boa breeders will say the same thing.
Might as well
not every hypo is the same. Not every IMG is the same. Not every blood is the same. They all can be a little bit different.
Absolutely.
But this one, when I saw this guy on the floor of that enclosure, there was no way he was leaving.
Beautiful animal for sure. And you were saying you want to build cages for these, but I actually really like all your rack setups here. You have a lot of enrichment. These are big racks too for the animals that are in them. There's a lot of space.
Yeah, I try to do what I can. I need to go down to the river and get another load of driftwood because some of them are a little bare. This rack I just got this year. I was keeping them in this smaller rack over here. I mean, it's still a decent sized rack, but this homemade rack over here. But then I picked this one up because I liked it. Was just works a little bit better, a little more square size. But yeah, if they can't have the biggest enclosure, I at least want them still to have enrichment in there.
This is a pretty big enclosure for the snake.
Yeah. Let's see, who else we got here? So this girl can be a little feisty. I haven't shown you this one yet. This girl is a Key West Aztec call albino.
You named her Papaya, which is very fitting.
Yes. Her name is Papaya because she looks like a papaya. And she's got the Aztec, so she can be a little feisty sometimes. But she's almost got greens to her. The camera, I'm sure, will not pick it up, but
yeah, I see what you're saying. Almost like a lime green in certain parts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Even on her face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's one that doesn't like being held. She's usually not mean. Occasionally, if I will always tap her because if I don't, she will strike.
I can see the nervous fighting
Yes.
type of behavior.
Yes, she will calm down. I need to handle her a little bit more. But
There's a little snap, yeah.
Yep.
Just for the camera, just for us.
Yep.
Yeah, she's interesting because the type of flightiness that she's showing,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really seen that out of a boa much.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, there's all there. I have ones that'll ball up like a ball python. I have ones that will sit there and act like that. She is probably the most flighty that I have, but I mean, I don't blame her for it.
Yeah. Just like people, they have different personalities.
Yep. Yes, yeah. She wants to bite me, but that's okay.
That.
You don't have to like me right now. One day you do. Let's see who else we got here. Oh, this is one that I've had many people try to buy off of me and will not leave. I didn't produce this one, but she is one of probably the top 5 of my collection that will never be leaving. And this is Raya, and she is a hypo IMG double het call leopard. So she has the genetics to produce leopard and albino, and of course I think going into shed.
But man, she's still stunning.
And again, if I showed you pictures of her as a baby, she looks nothing like this. And she is just getting so dark. And the guy I got her from is wishing that he didn't sell her. But she is, especially for a hypo IMG, she was 2020.
The tail is insane too.
She's a 2023, so she's only 2 years old, just coming up on 2 years old.
Is this the leopard doing this?
Yeah, the leopard will do. I think so het leopard often has very visual characteristics to it, where a lot of the like anathoristic and albino, a lot of the recessive stuff, you won't see much. And some people will argue this, but won't see much on the visual side. Where het leopard often will have visual characteristics, whether it's the striping, the saddles. And I think that's part of why she is so dark, is because of also the leopard compared to a normal hypo IMG.
Wow.
Is that leopard is making her dark.
That is super cool.
Because I have this one other that I didn't show you yet either. Over here that I'll show you in a second.
Stop hiding these snakes from me, Colin.
That's also het leopard, which is just normal het leopard, possible het albino, but you will see him and you'll be like, there's no way that's a normal.
Wow.
But yeah, this one will never leave here. She is, I will, if I'm living in a box, she will still be with me.
Wow. Beautiful.
Getting her out in the sun, she is also so iridescent.
I can see it in here.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, she's super dark. It's super cool.
And she's like, and when she's not in shed, because she is going into shed, you can see kind of the opaqueness in the sides and belly. Her face has this red to it, and her eyes have this red to them. That's just also, I think, contributed to the leopard.
Very cool. That's really cool. Yeah, that's a cool snake.
So let me show you the other normal. And whenever I post this guy on Instagram, he's labeled normal. Whoops. Stay in there. Normal het leopard. People are like, there's no way that's normal. But it is, because leopard will do, no, not that one. Leopard will do some crazy things.
Whoa!
This is Mando. He can be a little defensive sometimes, but he seems like he's going to be okay today. But this is Mando, who is a normal het leopard.
What? So he's just a het?
Yep, just het leopard, possible het call albino.
Dude, that's
not even
crazy.
But
so the het's having a visual effect on him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That is
It'll
insane.
give that stripe is somewhat. It's not like it's super common in het leopards, but it's not uncommon.
That's crazy.
A lot of people are like, "Oh, there's motley." That's not motley, because you can see the side medallions. Motley would not have those side medallions. Wow. Motley would be striped down the sides.
Wow.
But leopard also is increasing those side medallions that way. But he was probably one of the least genetic powerhouses that I have here. But he is, I saw him and I was like, I did not create this one. I saw him and I said, I need him.
Yeah, I mean, he is awesome.
And again, I've had some of my friends have offered to pay more than I paid to get him, but I just can't.
I see why.
And you'll see some in some labyrinth boas these days. I have a labyrinth over there, hypo labyrinth. I can see if I can pull him out. He was deep in shed the other day. I don't think he's shed yet, but he is striped kind of like this. But you'll see it doesn't have the side medallions the same as this. And that the labyrinth doesn't have leopard or anything. But
yeah, that stripe with the side medallions is just crazy.
Yeah.
That is a cool looking snake.
Yeah, he gets a lot of comments and reactions when I post pictures of him because people just don't believe it. They're like, no, that can't be. Like, yeah.
Wow.
And he used to be really defensive, but he's really come out of his shell.
Oh, yeah, he's a
recently.
cool snake. You can tell he's just inquisitive.
Yeah. So I'll show you while we're talking about it. The other striped one I have. This is Hypo Labyrinth Het Call. His name is Obi-Wan.
Very cool. From Mando to Obi-Wan.
Yep, there you go.
Nice transition.
Again, I always tap. This guy, yep, has not shed yet. Is normally much more pink. But this is just kind of what Labyrinth can do. Labyrinth can have saddles, but they're also very commonly can be striped like this.
That's cool.
I believe he's jungle too. But
I see the side medallions are not like on the leopard.
No.
And the stripe's different too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a double stripe.
Yeah.
Almost like a stripe with a line in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That is cool.
So we're over here. Why don't we take a look at those Parthos I was telling you about?
Awesome.
So first we got Anna. She is the Anery Partho, and she's the one that physically looks 100% healthy and fine. No physical issues. Eats great. I've definitely, these guys, even though they're, I think, over a year old now, I am very conservative on feeding these guys. Being Partho, I don't want to risk stressing them out too much, because with Parthos, you just never know. But, so she is Anery.
I will say, if you didn't know her age, her body looks healthy.
Yeah. No, she has been a beast. She could be a lot bigger if I was more aggressive with her feeding, but I want them to survive and thrive, so I'm not pushing my luck.
Yeah, that's cool. That's smart. So can you explain to me what Anery does?
Anery is essentially just taking away the red. It gets rid of the red, so an anathoristic redtail boa or boa imperator, it is just, you see how that tail is just gray. That red is gone. You won't have that red or that brown. They typically will be more tan as an adult. They won't stay gray like this. They'll tan out as they get to adults, but they will not. That tail will never have red. Will never have that dirty brown to it.
Gotcha. So any of the reddish tones are just gone.
Yep. And it's not like hypo where it's just partially or reducing. Anathoristic usually is just a complete elimination of that genetic component. I can't think of the exact terminology at the moment, but essentially removes all the red.
That's super cool.
But yeah, she's been doing great. And then next we have Elsa. She's a VPI Snow. So Elsa Snow.
Of course.
She does not like to be held as much. She's not mean, but she does not hold on well, which I think is part of her Partho specialness. She is a somewhat flighty snake, usually not bitey, but flighty, doesn't like to hold on. So this, don't bite me, just because I said you don't bite. So this is
Remember
a
that.
VPI snow. This is VPI albino and anathoristic. So you see that gray, that all that red's gone, plus much brighter and lighter than Anna that we just had out. Hopefully I get to produce some non-Partho ones this year.
They're beautiful snakes.
Yeah.
So that's super cool. Even though they're just one copy from the mom, they can actually come out looking different.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was very, like I said, a very emotional roller coaster that day because I was excited for babies, excited for the different colors, then unfortunately seeing a lot of them not thriving, a lot of them with kinks and deformities. It was also very heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Breeding anything, boas, pythons, they can give you the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. You don't get to pick when that is.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the fact that some of these made it, and I get to try and get them to adulthood, it's all fun in the end.
Yeah, very cool.
Sally is one of the Dumerils I produced a couple of years ago, born here. And what was that? July of 2022. Yep, so almost 2 years old. Dumerils are, like I said earlier, just one of my favorites. They are a lot slower growing than BCI boas. You're very rarely going to have a female that can breed before 6 or 7 years old. And they don't even really take well to power feeding. They will refuse if you try and power feed them. They have their way, and that's how they do it. But yeah, she's Sally, and I kept her brother too, Jack. But I don't know if you can see in the camera, she's got face markings on her head there that look like Oogie Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas. That's why we named her Sally. I couldn't name her Oogie Boogie because she's a girl. I kept it in the movie. One other one that we did not show you earlier. Couldn't show you everything. I mean,
there we go. Still got to get the tour. Get my genuine reaction on everything. I'm seeing it for the first time.
Including babies, we got like 90 some here right now. So this is a hypo leopard that my buddy actually produced. She is generally a sweetheart, but she's acting a little special right now.
Wow.
So this is hypo and leopard.
That's cool. That is completely insane.
Yeah, she's this crazy salmon pink and orange, and she is also just a super friendly snake. Like as soon as you walk in this room, she is one of the first ones at the front of her tub doing this.
She is really cool. Her tail is crazy too.
Yeah, and leopards tend to stay on the smaller side. Leopard genetics come from smaller localities, so they don't get as big as some of the Colombian varieties.
Is Sonoran the same thing as leopard?
Yeah, it pretty much is. I think there's a lot of mixing out there. So a true Sonoran is going to be different than this a little bit.
Okay.
These are, I think, more outcrossed with some Colombian stuff to get the hypo.
That's a beautiful snake. She's super cool.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart. Let's pull out Pongo. I got him. He's the one. This is the guy that I am tempted to put with Danny next year versus Dante. Even though I'd love to produce some more Groots, this guy is Hypo Labyrinth Key West Het out call albino, and probably Jungle. Oh, and IMG. Sorry, he's got a lot going on. So, but IMG and Labyrinths does not, especially Hypo Labyrinths, does not create the full-blown darkness. And he, in all honesty, has a lot more dark speckling than most Labyrinth IMGs have. Hopefully this year he will get to work. And I can get some albino Key West labyrinths, IMG labyrinths. See how those turn out. There's some people making them out there, but not a lot. I don't think I'll ever be one of those people making something that hasn't been made before. I don't have that kind of wallet that it takes to do that. But
you're definitely making some really cool stuff, though. And you know what? The people, that make stuff that has been made before, they can bring a lot more people in than the people making the world's first.
Yep. Well, and the world's first stuff, for me, it's like it's a weird predicament to be in, because like you like you kind of said, you make the world's first, but there is nobody out there that makes a world's first and then sells a world's first. They keep them all to themselves. They don't show them off as much as you would want them to. So it's like, so what's a world's first if nobody else can have it? If nobody else can share it? I like to share what I create. And a lot of my friends will tell me, no, you don't, Colt, because you keep the best ones. But, I mean, you got to keep some stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially if you want to, with boa breeding, you got to keep some stuff so you have future breeders. Because unfortunately, not in the reptile hobby, not everything lives forever. And sometimes things don't work out.
Yeah, and you can just keep stuff you like sometimes too, right?
Yep. Yeah, I'm nervous about coming up here in August if that VPI snow litter is successful, on how many I'm gonna unfortunately try and keep from that.
Yeah.
And my wife will be screaming at me when she sees this video and me saying that. She'll say, "No, you won't," and I will turn the other way. No. All right. Well, let's go look at some babies.
Okay, absolutely. You have a lot of babies this year.
Yeah. This is definitely the most babies I've ever had at one time, which is crazy because I thought I was going to have more. So I'm kind of glad that I don't have more, because I have about 35 babies in my care right now.
Very nice.
Which is fun, but also a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's start with some of these babies. So we'll look at a couple of first. They were babies from King Triton and Muffin, which we didn't really look at Muffin earlier, but she's an albino, just a visual albino. And she was paired to Triton Ghost IMG. So in this litter, we have everything from normals to hypos, just hypos, to normal IMGs to hypo IMGs. So it's one thing that's really fun with all these traits is you get a lot of variation. So like we'll start with the normal first, kind of show what a normal baby boa would look like. This one can be feisty sometimes, but I also had it out earlier. This is just a normal visual. All of these babies from this pairing all are double het call snow. They're all het for call albino and anery, because both parents were visual anery and call albino. So even though they don't have the albino or the anery showing, they all have it 100% het. So the baby,
normal boas are still super pretty.
Yeah, they are. If I didn't have so many, I'd probably keep one of these normals just to.
Yeah, my girl Athena looks like this one. I got her exactly like this right here.
Yeah. My first boa I ever had, don't have it anymore. It was a long time ago. I got it back in like 2001, 2000, something like that. It was what now I would know to be a Central American for Petco.
There you go.
Back before I saw boas and just, my dad had a ball python when I was growing up. But even though I love snakes, the ball python it wasn't my thing. And that's no fault to people who love ball pythons. It just wasn't mine. So yeah, I got a Central American female. And then after that, then I kind of learned more and wanted to breed. So I got a hypo male. Never ended up breeding them. Ended up selling them before my wife and I got married because we had a lot of stuff going on. But then now I'm back into it, and it drives my wife nuts.
There you go.
But
and that's what our goal is, to drive our wives nuts.
As much as it drives her nuts. I couldn't do this without her.
Yeah.
She makes these shirts for me.
And they are nice shirts.
She lets me do this. Lets me use this space. She knows the joy I get from it, and I'm very thankful for that.
That's beautiful. Beautiful sentiment. Yeah, I mean, doing stuff like this does take a lot of support from your wife.
Yeah. So that was a normal. So now let's take the next step, and we'll go to a hypo. This is a very pretty hypo. This one I might have a hard time selling because it is very pink. So now we got hypo, which is just hypo, but also that double het call snow. But my hand's probably making the colors not show, but she is just saturated. And she's very clean. And her mom isn't that one Danny, but she really reminds me of Danny, the big hypo we had out earlier. That's part of why. She is listed for sale right now, but I won't be sad if somebody doesn't buy her. Might have to take her off active listing. But
yeah, you definitely have some beautiful babies available right now.
And then now let's go with a hypo IMG. This one is sold, but it was one of the nicest one. One of my repeat customers is picking this one up. But so this is that hypo. Oh, you calm down. You calm down.
I love that about boas.
Yeah. It's hypo and IMG. And feisty.
Yeah, I love that when they are vocal because they really don't want to bite you.
No.
I mean, they just want to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
I like that. Not that they won't, but they just want to talk to you, and I really like that.
You don't need to try and bite me. You know that, right? But what's funny is most time with boas is you see this right here. I'm holding this boa with my hand.
Right.
She is not trying to bite me on my hand, which is holding her.
Right.
She's trying to bite my face.
Right.
Which has nothing to do with holding her. But that's what she's locked on. And that's like, no matter how I move, she's looking at my face.
Right.
She could be looking at you and trying to bite you, but no, she's trying to bite me. Hey, see? Yeah, calm down. So that was a hypo IMG. Now we'll go to a normal IMG. So it's not hypo, but it has IMG. Also double het call snow. This one, unfortunately, I don't have any more normal IMGs left for sale. They're all spoken for by me and previous customers. But this one is one that's staying here.
Cool, hold back.
Why are you being hissy too? You don't hiss.
She heard the other one.
Yeah. Oh. So this guy's very cool. It's hard to see right now because I think he's getting ready to go in shed too. But he has almost like a Tiki Man head stamp. It's really hard to see right now. But he's actually the snake that I just had put on my banner. Then get a nice clear shot over there.
That banner is nice too.
But yeah, so he's normal IMG. He will probably get pretty darn dark, if not completely black, as he gets older.
Super cool.
He's only had one shed so far, so every shed he will get darker.
That's awesome. And you were saying IMG is a dominant trait, right?
Co-dominant? Yeah.
So it makes like a super form?
No, it doesn't. So yeah, so I guess it's incomplete dominant.
Incomplete dominant.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I always get those mixed up. Yeah, so no, there isn't a super IMG. But yeah, if you breed it in.
Is Black Devil a different trait?
Yeah, Black Devil is IMG and Black-Eyed Anery. It's a different version of Anery.
Okay.
So yeah, those get super dark.
Gotcha.
But also Motley and IMG get very dark. So there's a lot of variations that can give you an almost black boa. Um, but you add hypo, it's generally not going to black out. You're always going to have some color there, which is not a problem if you ask me.
Yeah, the contrast is super cool.
So yeah, so we've seen some hypos and IMGs, and I have a bunch of those listed on my morph market at this time.
And we will link that in the
Yeah.
description. Colt has a bunch of cool stuff available right now that you guys should check out.
And more will be listed soon because some of the next babies we're showing are going on to their third and fourth feeding, so they will be listed very soon as well.
You're killing it this year.
So this we have an anery. So this is one of Joy's babies, the one we started the video with today. This is an anery female.
I love the tails on the aneries.
Mm-hmm. So this is one of her 10 normal size babies, not small. I expected either very small babies or a low number of babies, but she gave me very normal size babies and 10 of them. I don't know how she did it, but she did it. In hers, I had only essentially had two types of babies because she was call snow. She is albino and anathoristic. The male that was with her is a ghost, which is hypo and anathoristic, and he's het VPI. So with these babies, all of them are either anathoristic or ghost. No normals, no hypos, just anathoristic or ghost, and all of them are het call albino pos het VPI. There's a 50% chance that some of them are het VPI, but I wasn't really breeding for the VPI part. I wanted some aneries and ghosts that were het call to breed later on. Well, let's pull out a ghost. Let's see. This is a very pretty ghost. Very little black on her.
So ghost takes away the black?
Yeah, ghost is hypo and anathoristic. So she has so little black to her. She is just...
decreases the black.
Yeah,
and
it's a
anathoristic,
reduction.
you were saying, takes away the red.
Yeah. So, and not every ghost is the same quality. Like she is a very low speckled ghost. She has very little black speckling. Where then I have some in here. Let's see. Even this one, you can see he has a lot more. This male is a lot darker than she is. Well, darker in my eyes, but has a lot more speckling than she does.
Because of the speckling, yeah.
So both of these are ghosts. So not every ghost is created equal as well. It's like some hypos are darker and have more black than others. That's just how that hypo gene works. But all of these are at least anathoristic. So I had 10 babies from Joy there. Like I said, I had 4 anery, 6 ghosts. All of those will be, I don't think I'm going to keep any of those as much as I want to. So all of those will be listed soon. But then the other pairing that I was actually surprised by, because I thought I paired this female with two different males at different times, and I thought she didn't take it with the first male, Dante, but she did, because the babies came a lot earlier than I thought, and the colors were not the same as the second male. So this one had awesome variation. I had 12 babies born. I think they were slightly premature, so not all of them made it. Only 6 of the 12 that were born are still here. I think these 6 are going to make it, but it's still early. We're only 2 weeks in. But great variation in this, which is one of the most fun things. So here we have a ghost from that pairing. And this ghost has a really, because this one is probably jungle too, contributing to this tail pattern. It's low expression jungle, I believe, but we'll see more once it sheds. Still a little early. But we got a ghost here. And then we have what I don't know yet. It's either going to be a snow or a moon glow. this was the real surprise in the litter, seeing this pop out. I actually had 3 of these born, but this is the only one that survived so far. So this is either a snow or a moon glow and possible IMG. I won't know until it at least sheds once, maybe a couple times. But yeah, this little, I'm pretty sure it's a girl, has been beating the odds so far. She was super weak when she was born, would not hold on, really couldn't hold on. And now she's absorbed all her yolk that she was born with and seems to be doing well.
Awesome.
So
She's beautiful.
So hopefully she makes it. If she does, she likely stays.
Very cool. I see why.
I can't help it. So this one I believe to be most likely a ghost IMG because it's so much darker, but I won't know until it sheds. But this one is so much darker of a ghost, and the darker head leads me to believe it's likely IMG. But it's really hard to tell IMGs till they shed.
What does a regular ghost look like as an adult?
Like I have one over in the other room there, Leota. Just more tan, but still the saddles. There's no red, no brown. The tail saddle markings especially kind of almost look lavenderish. But yeah, I mean nothing. Almost no boa stays gray like they are.
That's kind of what I was asking.
Yeah, they all kind of get a little bit more tan as they get adults. There's not many snakes out there that pythons, boas, colubrids that stay the exact same color as when they're born.
Yeah,
they all change to a certain degree. But I'm hoping this one's IMG ghost. If it is, it'll probably be staying here.
Absolutely.
I have a problem. Sorry.
Good problem to have.
Sorry, Sarah. But then, so you see ghosts and then a white one, and then we have this one. It's just a hypo, but the color on this one is just so bright. And this one, my wife named Chompy because he was the most feisty, has been the strongest one since they were born, and he loves to try and bite me. But he is just so pink and red.
Hey, Chompy.
I'm pretty sure it's a boy, but this one likely will be eventually available once they're eating.
He doesn't seem too bad. You must have had him a lot because you liked getting chomped.
Mm-hmm. Well, with them being premature babies and stuff, I was checking on them hourly and changing their paper towels so much more frequently than even you normally would, just trying to give them every chance of survival.
That's awesome.
Because they were all very weak. They all hadn't absorbed all their yolk. But they're mostly normal size. There's one that's a little bit smaller, but also seems to be doing well. And then this one is another ghost. I think this one is just going to be ghost, probably not IMG. It has a little bit of speckling, but I think it's just going to stay ghost. But also another pretty little snake. That one will be available.
Sweet, that's a nice looking snake.
And this one is Hypo IMG. This one's a little bit smaller one, but has seemed to be a fighter and is doing well.
So Hypo IMG is exactly what Groot is, right?
Yep. This one won't be as colorful, obviously smaller. You can see it. But has been tongue flicking, active, responding to touch, and everything very well.
Beautiful snake. So
it will start on smaller food than the others, but at this point, I think there's a decent chance this one also makes it. And will be, if it is thrives, will be available one day. But being as small as it is, it'll probably need to get it at least 2 sheds in before I list it, just to make sure it's doing well.
Gotcha.
I guess while we're over here, we hadn't shown off Skywalker. So Ursula is a Suriname that I have in the other room. We took some pictures of earlier in a little video.
Yes.
She only had one successful baby about a year and a half ago. What are you doing back there? She had a bunch of stillborns, and then one made it. And this is Skywalker. Oh, hey. So he's a Suriname. He doesn't like to sit still, but he's got some cool patterns to him. And his tail is just so red, and I like how it's connected. You don't bite him. Don't bite him. But the BCCs, you generally they grow a little bit slower. You have to feed them smaller, so that their stomachs tend to be a little bit more sensitive to large prey items. They are very susceptible to regurgitation when they're babies, so you got to be very careful with them. So but that tail, yeah,
Absolutely,
you just can't beat that.
No, you can't.
Yeah, one of my repeat customers, when I posted pictures of him after he was born, he was like, "Please sell him to me."
Yeah,
I can't. Sorry. Maybe next one.
Yeah, hopefully you get some more.
Yep. Hopefully next year I have a more successful litter of Surinames to share with people. My son, my youngest, named him Dragon because when I first got him, he was a hisser. We opened the tub and he just hissed right at my son. He was like, "He sounds like a dragon. Can we name him Dragon?" I was like, "Sure." And this guy is Hypo Motley Aztec Het VPI. He's got some very cool color to him too, and like no black to him. But he doesn't really hiss and strike anymore. But when he's really fired up, he's got this almost purplish look to him. But you see, like the hypo is just so much more extreme in him than some of the others can be.
His tail's cool too.
Yeah.
Hey, Dragon. A beautiful snake.
Yeah, I don't really have a female for him right now, but one day I might pair him to Vanellope in the future.
Yeah.
IMG from earlier.
That'd be a cool pairing.
Get some motley IMGs. Let's finish off on Miss Alice. This girl I won in an auction on Morph Market not too long ago. She's a sweet girl. And she is a snow IMG.
She's beautiful.
Yeah, that IMG I think is what gives her that fluorescent, almost looking yellow.
Yeah, that's sick.
And then the IMG just makes that tail just white.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, IMG is actually really cool in the lighter stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so IMG is a tricky one. In all honesty, when I first started breeding, first started getting back into having boas, even before I bred, I was unsure about IMG. And then as I saw more and saw what it could do, it is one of my favorite genes. It just does so many different things. And it's not for everybody. I understand why some people don't like it, but I love it.
It's beautiful. I love it too.
So she's a long way away from breeding, but one day.
All right, you guys. So that's our 45 scales tour with Colt Freeman. We're going to link all his stuff in the description. Colt, it's been super fun being over here.
Thank you. Pleasure.
It's absolutely been great. You've been a great host.
Thank you.
And definitely check his stuff out, guys. He has a lot of available snakes that would definitely make great pets, great breeders, whatever you want to use them for. They're beautiful animals. He does a great job of caring for everything here. Anything else you want to say, Colt?
Thanks for coming, and hope to see you again soon.
Boom. You guys have a wonderful day.